Hello there, this is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the ASMR football channel, where we just talk about football results in a really calm and relaxing way, just in case you want to learn about the football results and listen to my opinions on them, but you don't have loads of flashing images and shouty people. This is a place where you can come and have a calm catch-up. So, welcome. Today we're going to look at the Premier League, talk about Liverpool's recent results, talk about the insane top four. Who would have seen that at the start of the season? We're going to talk about Man United's recent results and a couple of other things. We're obviously going to talk about El Clasico between Real Madrid and Barcelona. In the Netherlands we had the topper between Feyenoord and PSV, which was also top of the table, top two. And I watched the Ajax match as well, so I caught that match. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We had a couple of interesting results in what is a really close run thing in the early stages, at least in France. And we've also got a really interesting season happening in Serie A, which I've always said to you on this channel is a very interesting league these days. Now that Juve are out of the picture, we have like different champions every year. We will talk about Juve because they just sacked their manager today after being in charge for only 7 months. So we'll talk about that as well. What else will we talk about? We'll talk about also Scotland. We're definitely going to look at Scotland because something very interesting is happening in Scotland. And obviously the Championship, because my team Swansea City are there. So, lots and lots to get through. Plus we're going to look at the MLS playoffs. We're going to look at the Copa Libertadores playoffs. We're in the semi-finals there. We'll catch up with the Copa Sudamericana as well. So lots and lots to look at today. Let's get started. We'll start off as usual with the Premier League. So this top four that I spoke about is Arsenal, Bournemouth, Spurs and Sunderland. Like, who saw that coming? Definitely not Newcastle fans, I'll tell you that for nothing. Cannot wait for the derby between those two teams. Man City in 5th, having lost. And check this out. Man United 6th, Liverpool 7th. Aston Villa, after a really bad start on a fantastic run, they've got Liverpool next. Could be a very interesting game. If Liverpool lose again, that'll be 5. So not going to be easy for them. Chelsea then, below them, who I said would be in a title run. Newcastle down in 12th. And we've got Forest in 18th, who are on their, I've lost count, 3rd manager this season. West Ham, who are just playing terribly. And Wolves at the bottom, whose fans are going absolutely insane with the fact that they haven't even won a match yet. Fulham dangerously low as well. Let's look at some of those results then. So last weekend we saw Leeds be the latest team to beat West Ham. Leeds doing pretty fine. Another goal from my little Welshman, Joe Rodon, born down the way from where I grew up in Swansea. So they're having a pretty decent return to life in the Premier League. West Ham, however, are precarious. I did say at the beginning of the season that I feel that West Ham could go down this year. I suppose this is the next one I need to talk about. Chelsea at home lost to Sunderland. So, being Chelsea, like, how long does the manager have? Because, 1 minute you're winning the Club World Cup and the next minute you're doing really poorly in the league. Is he going to be given time? Not usually, not at Chelsea. Newcastle beat Fulham with a late goal from one of my fave players, Guimaraes. But Fulham, let's not beat around the bush, are in trouble. Not playing like they did last season. A really good, credible result against Brighton 4-2. 2 goals from Mbeumo, 1 from Cunha, so the new guys settling in. Could there be an argument for giving managers time even when it looks bleak? that's really impressive from them. And then the latest issue with Liverpool, lost 3-2. Salah did score, but Brentford scored 3, and the defence for Liverpool, I think this year, is one of the major issues. I didn't watch the match, so they're struggling with that right-back role. They spent a lot of money on their left-back, and could not take actually fair play to him. He started the season quite poorly, and I slated him, but since then he's doing really well. Obviously it doesn't help. Mamardashvili is a really good goalkeeper, but it's a difficult time for a new goalkeeper to come in when the side are in a bad run. Viet hasn't set anyone alight yet. Salah neither, and a lot of the impact is the fact that he's not tracking back to help the right back, so whoever is in that right back position, I think the last thing I heard, Frimpong was injured, and he wasn't even getting played there anyway. Soboslai, who was probably their best player this season. Yeah, when Gakpo has a bad match, then Liverpool just can't win at the minute. Again, Ekitike doing poorly in this particular match. I think they've got quite a few injuries. Yeah, Becker, so Alisson, Frimpong, Gravenberch, which is a big one, and obviously Alexander Isak. But fair play to Brentford. They're doing really well this season, and deservedly got a win there. Bournemouth obviously going for Champions League football this year. How incredible their stadium is, so small. Tavernier and Krupi with the 2 goals, so Semenyo didn't score this time, which makes an interesting change, because he's usually in with the goals. Was he playing? Yeah, he was on the left hand side, so they must have left David Brooks out for a bit, but yeah. They're just playing brilliantly. I cannot believe they sold 3 of their back 4, and they're doing this well this year. Well done to them. Arsenal, do I think they're going to win the title? I think they possibly could. It's ironic because I'm not enjoying their way of play this year. They seem to just score the vast majority of their goals from set pieces, which, I'm a little bit of a purist. I would love a team to sort of sweep everyone away, but they've got an issue because when teams play against them, they often sit back, and Arsenal have to try and break them down. So one way of doing that is by winning corners and scoring from the corners, or from other set pieces as well. And I know some of you, I said this at the end of last season, I said that they sort of looked a tiny bit one-dimensional, and quite a few of you sort of corrected me and said, actually, we've only scored like 4 headed goals from corners or whatever. So it's probably not the case. That I'm not saying they score every goal from a set piece, but it is saving their bacon a little bit. But is that the way to win? Is that how they just do it? Eke up results, play the way they want to play. When the players, opposing teams dig in, the only way around them really is through going wide. They win corners, they score because they're obviously the best, one of the best probably in the world at the minute at corners. Maybe that's just the way they stop getting 0-0s. Good for them. Aston Villa, big win after a very disappointing opening part of the season. Matty Cash with the goal and beating Man City, so this goal scoring record of Haaland has ended. And yeah, so it shows that Man City aren't out of the woods with their issues either. Wolves losing at home, the fans losing their minds, 3-2. I'd said they were going to go down this year, to be honest. I'm not quite sure. Burnley, well done to them. And Everton losing, I think, their first time in their new stadium at home. 2 goals from the very good Van de Ven. And then Sarr as well to compound the loss. So Spurs themselves not playing like amazing football, yet finding themselves 3rd in the table. Maybe it's going to be one of those seasons. Okay, pushing on. Championship time. We can talk about it this week because Swansea won. So Coventry City, unbeaten, invincible, as we say. They've got Wrexham next. They're at the top, so they are looking very good. Middlesbrough still looking quite solid. And then we've got Millwall doing brilliantly in 3rd, Bristol, Stoke having a fantastic season, and Charlton Athletic, quite surprisingly. But this is how tight the league is. So 6th place, Charlton Athletic, 19 points. the same number of points as Preston, Hull, and within a win of Queen's Park Rangers, Leicester, West Brom, Ipswich, Swansea. So all the way from 13, so particularly within one match day you could have a complete change of, my maths is terrible, 7 teams. So very, very difficult league, always has been, but for some reason even tighter this year than usual. Wrexham and Birmingham, the two sort of famous owned, celebrity owned clubs, 15th and 16th. Southampton quite low, Blackburn surprisingly low, obviously the two Sheffields, and Norwich, which we'll talk about that in a second because that's who my team beat. Preston beat Sheffield United. Coventry beat Watford. Goals from Thomas Asante, Allen and Sakamoto. Ipswich beat West Brom. Stoke won again. Matthews' own goal in this occasion. There's my Sorba Thomas on the highlights reel there. Having a great season. Blackburn beat Southampton at the bottom. 2-1. Bristol beat Birmingham 1-0. The Robin scorer was Armstrong. Derby then beat QPR, who themselves, actually QPR beat Swansea midweek. Hull drew with Charlton, Middlesbrough drew with Hollywood FC. Hackney, they just seem to get goals at the end of matches, Middlesbrough, if they're losing, after the opener from Windass. Millwall beat Leicester 1-0 with a goal from Aziz. They're just having a fantastic season. I think they're one of the teams that's never been in the Premier League, right? So that's great. And then Oxford won away at, Sheffield Wednesday were looking for buyers. And Swansea beat Norwich 2-1. Vipotnik hadn't scored for a couple after having this fantastic start to the season. And both his goals were absolute stunners. Never should, I think I checked and we had quite low expected goals. Norwich beat us in that sense. And they even beat us on possession, which does not happen very often, but Vipotnik was on fire. He missed an equalising opportunity in the dying embers of the match against QPR. So yeah, we needed a bit of a break, but obviously Norwich are that team at the moment that can't catch a break. Wrexham Coventry next. Who Swansea got? Away to Charlton, that'll be hard. Just checking on League One. Stockport County are top. Well, Cardiff are now second after losing. Stevenage still doing well. Bradford, Wimbledon and Lincoln. And League Two, Walsall are top. Swindon, Salford having a fantastic season. Milton Keynes then in 4th. Notts County, Grimsby and Chesterfield in 7th. And the Women's Super League, Chelsea are still top after 6 games. Manchester City are second, Man United are third, Spurs, Arsenal. The Lionesses are in 6th. That's really, really good for them. They've won their last 2, but they got Chelsea next. Ouch. And West Ham are bottom, Liverpool just above them, who are having a terrible season. See the latest results. So Aston Villa, Leicester draw. Chelsea beat Spurs 1-0 with a goal from Walsh. Man United big win away to Everton, Mallard, Kitagawa and 2 from Park. The Lionesses beat West Ham with a goal from Aslani, the Swede. Excellent player. Arsenal beat Brighton 1-0. Ole Slangers with an own goal. And Liverpool lost home to Man City. Goals from Benny and Fujino. I was reading that there are quite a lot of Japanese players in the Women's Premier League. Let's talk Scottish Premier League because something exciting is happening. Not if you're a Celtic or Rangers fan, obviously, but if you're not, and you're a bit of a neutral, Hearts are now 8 points ahead. And the reason being, by the way, Rangers got their first win. We'll look at that in a second. Oh, not their first, sorry, their second win, but their first under the new manager. So the Edinburgh teams, Hearts and Hibs, are first and third. Could we see a little bit of an upset this year? I don't know whether Hearts can hang on. But you'd think that they could probably get second or third at least at this stage with the form they're in. It's obviously a really long way to go. And we've seen things similarly in the past where teams fade and just don't have the large squad and capacity that Celtic. But Celtic are unhappy with their board. Rangers have had horrific issues with their managerial positions. Is this the year that someone who's been building pace and momentum, like Hearts have, that have been building a solid squad, just peep in? Can we have... I was thinking about it the other day. Since I paid attention to football since about 1998, I can't remember a side other than Celtic or Rangers ever winning. I think other teams have in the past. Definitely, I'm sure in the back of my mind Aberdeen did with Alec Ferguson as the manager. Am I thinking this right? So it has happened, but I can't remember it happening. But that is a big win. So Hearts beating Celtic 3-1. Goal from own goal from Murray, Kazaridis, and obviously Shankland with another goal for him. McGregor with a goal for Celtic. So yeah, that's crazy. The Edinburgh teams beating the Glasgow teams. Rangers, by the way, got a 3-1 victory against Killie. Cornelius, Danilo and Shermiti with the goals. So Roll got 100% record so far as a Rangers manager. And Hibs beat Aberdeen away, Clige and Yuan with the goals. So very interesting times in Scotland this season. The usual in Wales, unfortunately. TNS are top. Penybont trying to keep up, but lost their last two, so that's no good. Carnarvon in third. And Northern Ireland, Coleraine are top, with Glentoran in second, Larne in third. But they've both played one fewer game than Coleraine at the top. Linfield in fourth. Okay, let's take a look at the MLS. So, we'll take a look at the tables first because I was looking at these the other day. So Philadelphia Union finished top, and I think they won the Shield, right? Because they are the best of, when you combine the records of both East and West conferences. Cincinnati came second and Inter Miami came third. And then San Diego, Vancouver, Los Angeles, Charlotte, Minnesota, New York and Seattle make it the top 10. San Diego winning the Western Conference, Vancouver second, Los Angeles third, and then we had Philly with top, Cincinnati with second, Inter Miami with third. And in the knockouts we've had San Diego, who are quite a new franchise, doing really well. In their first leg they beat Portland 2-1. I was thinking Portland would win overall, although I had a look at the table and Portland haven't had a great season. But this is their time to shine, isn't it? They usually do better in the playoffs. We're going to see Minnesota take on Seattle Sounders tomorrow night. Oh, day for you. LAFC take on Austin. And Vancouver have a healthy lead against Dallas 3-0. Surprisingly, Philly... Oh, there's penalties. You have to have a winner. That's interesting. Oh, it's the 3-match series. I still don't get how some of these work. Okay, so Philly beat Chicago 2-2, but then on penalties. You know, I'd be shocked if they went out to this stage. Charlotte taking on New York FC. Miami breathed a sigh of relief taking on a tricky Nashville team. 3-1 was their opening win with a game to go, and Cincinnati take on Columbus Crew soon, today in fact, in like an hour. So, is it going to be Miami's, or is someone going to stop them? It's going to be quite an interesting set of playoffs in the MLS this year. I think we've already figured out, however, look at Bayern Munich with the Werder Bremen badge. So Bayern Munich are running away with the league this year, like insane. They're not just beating, they're not getting like 1-0 wins, they are destroying everyone that goes up against them. They look terrifying. 8 wins out of 8 and goal difference of plus 26. Leipzig, however, come up the table, seizing on a little stumble the previous match day, from Borussia Dortmund. Stuttgart, who I said would do quite well this year, in third. Bayer Leverkusen doing better than I thought with their change. Obviously they had Ten Hag at the beginning of the season, and then he left, so they're doing quite well. And then Frankfurt, who I said would make a bit of a outside run for the title, not so, in 6th. Cologne are doing well after just being promoted though. Hamburg as well, not too bad, but they've lost their last two. They've got Cologne next. And then Mainz, very surprisingly, down in the playoff relegation spot with Heidenheim and Borussia Mönchengladbach, which is a big shock. Let's look at previous results. Werder Bremen beating Union Berlin 1-0. Leipzig hammering Augsburg. Diamond, Cruz, Nusa Baumgartner, Ouedraogo and Lukeba with the goals. So they have stormed into 2nd spot. Frankfurt beating Hamburg-based St. Pauli, 2 goals from Burkhardt. Then Hamburg lost at home to Wolfsburg, Daim with the only goal. Hoffenheim beat Heidenheim 3-1. And then Mönchengladbach losing at home to, who else? Bayern München. Kimmich, Guerreiro and Karl, this youngster, another excellent youngster they've had come through their ranks. Dortmund beat Köln, goal from the Bayer in the 96th minute. And Leverkusen beating Freiburg 2-0, Poku and Absorba with the goals. And lastly, Stuttgart beating Mainz, Fürich and Undav with the 2 goals. Quick pop in on Bundesliga. Schalke are top. Oh, one of my favourite clubs. Paderborn and Elversberg. Hannover in 4th. Kaiserslautern in 5th. Hertha down in 8th. And Fortuna Düsseldorf in 13th. Nuremberg in 15th. So many big teams in that league. Okay, let's go to Italy, where we've got quite a few horses in the race. One of which is my beloved Roma. So Napoli are top, but only on goal difference over Roma. Milan are in 3rd by 1 point. Inter, who surprisingly lost this weekend, are in 4th. Bologna have managed to claw themselves back up. They were quite close to the relegation zone at the start of the season. And Como, too many draws, but they are still only 1 loss. Atalanta have dropped away with 4 draws. Juve, 3 draws and 2 losses, and they sacked Igor Tudor? I was really shocked. We'll see the result in a second. Lazio in 10th. And then down the bottom, Fiorentina still, which is hugely disappointing. They've got Inter next, Pisa and Genoa. Milan then drawing with Pisa 2-2. 86th minute, what was thought to be a winner. Quite Rado, by the way, obviously from quite a few teams in Serie A. Juve, Inter, I think, as well. And then Atekame with a 93rd minute equaliser to salvage something at home against little Pisa. Parma Como 0-0, Udinese beating Lecce 3-2. Karlström, Davis and Buxa with the goals. Ah, that's who they lost to, right. Napoli beating Inter, very important win. De Bruyne, who injured himself scoring a penalty and is going to miss a little bit of time. McTominay with another goal and Anguissa. Cremonese drew with Atalanta. Vardy's first goal in Italian football. 1-1, Brescianini with the goal for Atalanta. Then Torino beating Genoa. Savelli with their own goal and Maripan with a 90th minute winner. Verona drawing with Cagliari 2-2. Goals from Cagliarini and Orban, Idrissi and Felici. Roma with Dybala, Paulo Dybala's first, look at that kit, that is absolutely stunning. First goal of the season for Dybala after a very good move. Made the goalkeeper save it and push it back out, and Dybala put it straight into the back of the net. Sassuolo did really well though, fair play to them, and they probably deserve to get a draw in all fairness. But I'm obviously very pleased that Roma won. And then Fiorentina drawing with 10-man Bologna, Gudmundsson and Moise Kean. Moise Kean with that equaliser in the 94th minute. Castro and Cambiaghi with the goals for the away team. And then the last result of the weekend, the nail in the coffin for Tudor. A 1-0 win for Lazio, who were just above the relegation zone before this result, but Basic with the only goal. Juve couldn't score and get back into it despite having some of the better chances and possession in the match, and big result for Lazio actually, and big result for Juve obviously because they decided to sack their manager. Quick glance at Serie A: Modena are top, Monza, Cesena, Palermo, Frosinone, Carrarese, Juve, Stabia and Venezia. Okay, Eredivisie. So we have Feyenoord joint top with PSV Eindhoven, 2 goals with a better goal difference of 2, keeping Feyenoord number 1. Alkmaar 3rd, Ajax 4th, Groningen in 5th, Sparta Rotterdam in 6th, Nijmegen in 7th and Twente in 8th. Utrecht having a bit of a rubbish season on 9th. Go Ahead Eagles doing brilliantly both in Europe, where they beat Aston Villa last week, and doing pretty well in the Eredivisie as well. Heerenveen, Fortuna Sittard, Volendam, Breda, Zwolle, and then down the bottom Excelsior, Telstar and Heracles. So I said we had the topper. I'll come to that in a second. Heerenveen drawing with Breda 3-3. Groningen winning away to Fortuna Sittard 2-1. Goal scorers were Van der Werf and Peersman. Sparta Rotterdam beating Telstar 1-0. Volendam getting a cheeky win, 3-0 winners. Bukala, Lelendal and Oelers. Lelindal, sorry. And Zwolle drawing with Nijmegen 2-2. I watched the end of the first half and most of the second half of this match. Twente looked pretty comfortable in the first half. Well, looked as if they had been pretty comfortable. They were winning 1-0. And then Ajax came out of the blocks. God knows what was said to them at half time. But Weghorst scored immediately. Gloog scored an absolute stunner from the outside of the box. He just half volleyed it into the top corner. He was like just there. Absolutely amazing goal. And Gos with the third goal before a penalty from Van Wolfswinkel, meaning that Ajax got a big win after their form has not been great. And to be honest, I think that Twente will be really feeling sick about that. They played well enough at parts to have got something out of the match, let alone not lose it. A draw they would have been probably upset with. Look at the expected goals. Yeah, but the second goal from Gloog was just wonderful. And then the topper, Feyenoord losing at home to a hat-trick from PSV Eindhoven's Saibari with 3 goals, 30th, 51st and 60th minutes, cancelling out Valente and Tagalin's goals. So they are narrowly ahead of them on goal difference now only. Alkmaar hammering Utrecht 4-1 and Go Ahead beating Excelsior 2-0 with goals from Surrey. Okay, then quick check-in on the Canadian Premier League because they are also in the playoffs, and Atletico Ottawa beat Forge 2-1, and then in a couple of days Forge will therefore take on Cavalry, which is weird. Why are they doing that? Okay, so because the winner of... Okay, so Forge gets a second chance. So Ottawa's definitely in the final, but then Forge can also get into the final by beating Cavalry, who beat York United. Seems a bit of a weird system, but okay. If someone wants to explain it to me in the comment section, please do. Okay, let's go to France, where they're having a little bit of an exciting season because Paris Saint-Germain aren't doing a Bayern Munich, as it's known. They're not wiping the floor with everyone, and it's quite exciting. So Paris Saint-Germain are top, but only by 1 point over Lens, who have come from nowhere. Marseille drop after losing. We'll see who they lost to. It's quite an important one. Drop to 3rd. Lyon have climbed up to 4th. Lille and Monaco make up the top 6. Strasbourg have dropped out to the top 6, but a win would take them to 2nd. That's how close it is. That's in fact where they were on this match day when they drew to 2 very late goals from Paris Saint-Germain. They were winning 3-1 against Paris Saint-Germain. And then all of a sudden they're in 7th. Nice are in 8th. Rennes are in 10th. Paris FC in 11th. And then Lorient, Auxerre and Metz down the bottom. So Paris lost at home to Nantes 2-1. Brest lost at home 3-0 to Paris Saint-Germain with goals from Hakimi and Doué. Monaco beat Toulouse 1-0, goal from Salisu. And Lens have gone up to 2nd because they beat Marseille. Greenwood scored for Marseille, but Edouard, and then there was an own goal from Pavard, which puts Lens back into 2nd. And then Lille beating Metz 6-1 with goals from practically everyone: Igamane, Correa, Perrault, André and Haraldsson. Angers beat Lorient 2-0, Auxerre lost to Le Havre 1-0, Nice beat Rennes in Brittany, 2 goals from them, Diop and Klaus. And then Lyon were the ones that beat Strasbourg 2-1, Doucouré with an own goal. Panicelli then for Strasbourg, and the winner on the 91st minute from Moreira. So it's becoming a little bit of an interesting season there. Okay, checking in on the A-League in Australia. Melbourne are top after 2 games, a win and a draw. That's Melbourne City. Welly Phoenix are in 2nd. Auckland are in 3rd. So the New Zealanders are taking over. Newcastle Jets 4th. Sydney FC 5th. And Adelaide in 6th. Latest results there were as follows: Newcastle Jets 5, Melbourne victory 2. Auckland beating Western Sydney 1-0, the goal from Randall. Melbourne City beating Perth Glory 4-0, goal from Caputo, Schreiber and Rahmani. Then Sydney FC beating Central Coast, Mariners 2-0, Campusano and Wood with the goals. Welly Phoenix beating Brisbane Roar 2-1, Nagasawa and Armiento with a 96th minute winner. And then MacArthur beating Adelaide United 2-1 with Rose and G scoring the goals. Okay, vamos a La Liga. We have to talk about El Clasico, which happened this week. And of course there are always talking points, but Real Madrid are now 5 points ahead. It looks like they have to lose at the minute. And Barcelona are in 2nd, Villarreal are in 3rd. Atletico have climbed up to 4th now. Espanyol still doing well in 5th. Real Betis in 6th. Rayo are in 7th. Elche having a great season. Athletic Club a bit all over the place. Draw, loss, win, draw, loss. They've got the Basque Derby next against Sociedad. Sevilla in 11th. Levante in 15th. Real Sociedad down in 17th. Valencia, one of my favourite clubs, in 18th. And then Real Oviedo 19th, and Girona, who are starting to pick up more points now, in 20th. Okay, so the results were Sociedad beating Sevilla 2-1, Girona drawing with Real Oviedo at the bottom 2-3 all, 97th minute draw from Carmo, Espanyol beating Elche 1-0, Getafe beating Athletic Club 1-0 away, then Villarreal going to Valencia locals and beating them 2-0, Moreno with a penalty and Comesana. Mallorca Levante 1-all, we'll come back to that. Osasuna losing at home to Celta Vigo 3-2, Rayo beating Deportivo Alavés 1-0, and currently, with only 5 minutes to go, Atletico Madrid are winning in Seville against Real Betis, goals from Simeone and Baena. And then there was El Clasico. in the Bernabeu, 2-1. Mbappe scored, he had about 2 ruled off for offside, and Bellingham scored his first goal of the season as well. Lopez was the then equaliser for Barcelona, and then was it Gavi got sent off right at the end? Pedri, sorry. And then there was a brawl, and Lunin got sent off even though he's on the bench. Vinicius Jr. got yellow carded, Rodrigo, Balde, Ferran Torres. Big scrap at the end. To be honest, I was watching it live, and the foul was so ridiculous. It was never a red card though. I mean, he didn't get a red card, he got a second yellow, so it doesn't matter. But then the stupidity at the end for everyone to have a little fight about it was very silly. Yeah, so there were penalties, cancelled, ruled offside for Mbappe at least once. I think Mbappe also missed a penalty. Xabi Alonso's tactics were very interesting. So right at the end, when it was about the 70th minute even, I think, not even waiting for the 80th, they just sat back and left Mbappe up front to counter-attack by himself, and they just did a low block of 2 lots of lines, the defence and the midfield, and Barcelona just couldn't get through them. It was a really interesting thing to do at home in front of the fans in the Bernabeu. And Barcelona could have played all day. I don't think they were going to score, because in the end, obviously Lewandowski's injured, and Rashford, then they stuck up front from wide, and he's not a target man at all. So when you sit that deep, the only thing you can do is go wide and cross the ball in, but there was no one to cross it to, and sometimes Rashford was even outside of the box when they got to the wide position, so it was like there was no one in there to cross to. So they could have played for hours and they wouldn't have scored a second goal, to be honest. But let's talk about Vinicius Jr. getting subbed. So Vinicius got subbed on the 72nd minute. Yeah, for Rodrigo. And obviously Xabi Alonso's got this really difficult job of trying to keep everyone happy. Fair play to Vinicius Jr. He was running wild. They didn't know what to do with him. He was doing tricks and running all over the place, dribbling brilliantly. But I'm really sorry, I did not like his attitude, and Xabi Alonso just ignored him. I think I would have told him off. He was coming off and he was waving his arms and he was swearing, and he was really upset about being subbed. And it's like, it's not your decision, shut up. I'm really sorry, he was so petulant. The guy is an amazing footballer, his attitude stinks. I wouldn't have him anywhere near my dressing room. I'm really interested to see, would you sacrifice that sort of really childish, infantile behaviour for the quality of footballer that he is? Is it worth putting up with it for what he does on the pitch? Because as a manager, he's totally in front of, how many million people were watching that? 150 million people or something around the world watched him come off and, sort of gesticulate and look really, really unhappy. Then he stormed down didn't even sit on the bench at first. He stormed down the tunnel, waving his arms still and having a little temper tantrum, and then eventually came back onto the bench and stuff. I just thought it was really, really, really poor behaviour from him. And totally unnecessary. He's not thinking about his teammates in the fact that Rodrigo wanted to get on to play the biggest match of the season. He should be happy that his teammates coming on and getting some game time. I didn't like it at all. He's on a fine line already, so he needs to watch himself, because surely they're going to fine him internally for that behaviour. That was so embarrassing for the manager. And they actually won the match. It's not like he was making a poor decision. He wanted to take him off, but someone who was a little bit more defensively minded and someone who's fresh could then break with Mbappe. So yeah, I am not a fan of Vinicius Jr. His attitude absolutely stinks. La Liga 2. Racing Santander are top, Las Palmas second, Almería in third, Cádiz, Burgos and Sporting Gijón in sixth. Superliga. Galatasaray still unbeaten in the top spot. They've got second place Trabzonspor next, which should be quite interesting. On the same day, we have Besiktas against Fenerbahce as well, so that's quite an interesting one. Fenerbahce in third, Besiktas in fourth, Konyaspor in eighth, Antalyaspor in 14th, Eyüpspor having a much worse season this year in 16th, Kayserispor in 17th, and Fatih Karagümrük in 18th. Okay, let's fly through some of these then. So Allsvenskan has finished. Now we got 2 match days to go, but no one can catch Mjällby, who are this tiny village in the middle of nowhere. Massive congratulations to them for winning the Swedish Allsvenskan. It's like Leicester winning the Premier League. It's like incredible. Hammarby are in second, and Gais, surprisingly, are in third. Göteborg are in fourth. Djurgården, Malmö, who won it the last 2 years, are in sixth. And AIK, another big team, in seventh. Häcken, who won it 3 years ago, are in ninth. So yeah, so a complete topsy-turvy table this year in Sweden. A couple more to look at then. So Serie A in Brazil got a couple of games left. Oh, yeah, quite a few actually. Palmeiras are all of a sudden top after Flamengo lost. And Cruzeiro, Mirassol still doing well. Bahia and Botafogo in sixth. Who did they lose to then? Atlético Mineiro beat Ceará. Corinthians won against Vitória. Fluminense beat Internacional 1-0. Fortaleza beat Flamengo 1-0 with a goal from Lopes. Sao Paulo beat Bahia 2-0. Santos and Botafogo drew in the little derby. Grêmio beat Juventude 3-1. Juventude 3-1. Red Bull lost home to Vasco da Gama 3-0, and Palmeiras drew with Cruzeiro. And the Irish Premier League has been won by Shamrock Rovers again, but they've lost their last 3, which is interesting. But no one can catch them. They've got Galway next, who are about to be relegated, aren't they? Oh no, they're not. They're in 7th, sorry. Oh, but they could be. Cork are definitely going down, but the Waterford are currently in the playoff spot. Sligo Rovers, surprisingly, in 8th. Derry have played match 35. So Shamrock have got 2 games to go. Can they? Someone in the comments section told me that Shamrock Rovers had won the league, but mathematically, unless it goes on head-to-head, Derry City can still get more points than them, especially if they've lost the last 3. I'll keep an eye on that. Someone explain in the comment section for me. Poland, Górnik Zabrze, surprisingly, still top. Jagiellonia Białystok in second. Wisła Płock and Cracovia make up the top 4. Lech in 5th, Raków Częstochowa in 8th, and Legia Warszawa down in 10th. And Finland finishing up quite soon, I assume. Yeah, a couple of match days to go. Kups are still top, but only by 3 points, and Interturku are second. Ilves are in third. Liga Profesional in Argentina. Don't know why it does that all the time. I still think we've got loads of matches to go. So the table is Central Córdoba de Santiago in first, Boca are in third in Zona A, and in Zona B, Deportivo Riestra, having a superb season, are top. Rosario Central, Lanús, and then River Plate are down in 5th. Recent results: Boca beating Barracas Central 3-1, Jimenez with 2 goals and Marientel with 1. Independiente beating Platense 3-0. Vélez Sarsfield beating Sarmiento 2-0. River Plate beating Talleres 2-0. Montiel and Mesa with the goals. And they've got another game coming soon by the looks of it. Yes, in Gimnasia. Okay. Liga MX, Toluca now top. But Tigres are in second, Cruz Azul having a fantastic season are in third, Club America in fourth, Monterrey slipping down to fifth. And Aaron Ramsey's Pumas are in 13th. He is out with a little injury at the moment. Last couple of results. Tigres beat Tijuana 2-0. Goals from Gignac still going and Correa, who's having a fantastic debut season there. Club America drawing away to Mazatlan. Goals from Alvarez and Rodriguez. Leon drawing with Universidad Nacional, Pumas, Alvarado and Macias, 90th minute equalizer, and Cruz Azul beating Monterrey, that's who beat them, Orozco and Sepulveda with the goals. Toluca drawing with Pachuca 2-2, Gallardo and Paulinho with the goals, 2 for Valencia for Pachuca. That's Ana Valencia, by the way, is still going. Cracking player. And then Portugal. I promised myself I wouldn't do an hour video. I'm around 46 minutes already. Porto are top, Sporting with Braga's badge for some reason. Let's correct that. That totally confused me. Okay, let's try again. Porto are top, Sporting second, Benfica third. But there's a win between each. Only 2 points. Gil Vicente, we're having a fantastic season. They are in fourth. Then we have Belgium, and Union Saint-Gilloise are still top, Club Brugge in second, Gent in third, Mechelen are in fourth, wow, Anderlecht down fifth, Genk in eighth, and Antwerp in 14th, that's a bit of a shock. Okay, I'm going to stop there, because I want to look at the Copa. Copa Libertadores, there you are. So we are at the crucial semi-final stage. Excitingly, wow, that's a big result. Universidad de Quito beating Palmeiras 3-0. Could we have a non-Brazilian winner of the Libertadores for the first time in God knows how long? Goals from Villamil and Alzugaray. But they've got to go to Brazil. And then Flamengo beating Racing, Brazil beating Argentina 1-0, Carrascal with the only goal in the 88th minute. They've got to go to Argentina next. Quite exciting stuff there. So, could we have, it's even possible we could have a non-Brazilian final. So, Ecuador, no, Universidad de Quito, yeah, Ecuador against Racing of Argentina perhaps. And the Sudamericana, which usually isn't won by a Brazilian team, incidentally. This one has got Universidad de Chile drawing with Lanús of Argentina 2-2 in the first game, and Brazil's Atlético Mineiro, my club, drawing with Independiente del Valle of Ecuador, I think. Yes, of Ecuador. So Ecuador's club's doing well, just like their national team, with a saving equalizer from Dudu. So yeah, we're going to have someone from Ecuador, Chile, Argentina or Brazil in the final two of those. How exciting. Great. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment, and also subscribe. And don't forget to look at this video if you haven't yet. And I'll see you very soon. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Take care.